Your old pal Giggles Cole here. It's been a while, hasn't it? It sure has. But what better way for me to come back than do a Reminisce video about my favorite game of all time, Resident Evil 2. It's crazy to think that Resident Evil 2 has been around for 20 years. This year marks the 20-year anniversary of Resident Evil 2. It's insane. It's crazy. I remember getting that game when I was 18 years old. Unfortunately, I didn't get the game on its release. I didn't have a job at the time and I was broke, and parents didn't want to help me, said I'm on my own. And that sucks. My cousin actually owned the game, and I didn't have it yet, and I was pretty jealous. He only bought it because he heard the first one was good, even though he never played it. And I remember going to his house all the time, playing it, really getting to know the game, getting into it. Finally, he realized that I liked the game so much because I loved the first one. When I was younger, I actually had like model kits of cars. Like I had just all different kinds. And I had two of them that he really wanted. It was a 1970 Chevy Monte Carlo and a 1957 Chevy Bel Air. It's one of my favorite cars. I love the way it looks. So he really wanted those kits, and I really wanted Resident Evil 2. So we agreed to trade. So finally, after months of wanting the game and only playing it at my cousin's house, I finally had the copy. Man, I was excited. I thought it was really cool that the game was on 2 discs. It shows you how much of a bigger scope this game was compared to the original. That was only on 1 single disc, and you had to choose from 2 characters, Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine. Disc 1 you play as Leon as he goes through the destruction of Raccoon City. While on Disc 2 you play as Claire, she goes through the same scenario, basically on the other side of the city. The scenario changes depending on whose A and B scenario you play. Let's take a quick look and see how they got in this predicament. Claire arrives in Raccoon City in search of her brother Chris Redfield from the first game, as Raccoon City was his last known whereabouts. While at the same time, Leon Kennedy arrives in Raccoon City as his first day at RPD. Unfortunately, neither one of them know what they got themselves into.
What have we got here?
Leon quickly realizes that things are not what it seems, when he's suddenly surrounded by the undead, wanting to feast on his flesh. Tasty. Itchy. Tasty. Leon is then attacked and has no choice but to defend himself by taking several gunshots at the zombies, with little to no effect, so he has no choice but to get out of there. Claire, on the other hand, enters a diner that's abandoned. No one's around. Seems desolate. Unnerving, if you ask me.
Hello?
When Claire seems to be in a world of trouble when she is suddenly surrounded by, you guessed it, zombies. Just like Leon, she has no choice but to hightail it out of there and make her escape.
Wait! Don't shoot!
Get down!
When she is then saved by Leon with a nice looking headshot, this is where our 2 lead characters cross paths and work together. After a little bit of getting to know each other, both Leon and Claire make their way to the Raccoon City Police Department to evaluate their situation. Then suddenly an unsuspected passenger attacks them, causing them to crash.
You okay?
Still in one piece.
And of course things get from bad to worse, when an out-of-control semi-truck starts heading towards them, driven by a guy who was bitten earlier.
Why'd he bite me?
Once again, Leon and Claire have to make their daring escape to survive. Unfortunately, this separates our 2 heroes and they have to go on their separate ways to hopefully survive the night of absolute horror. What a fantastic intro, really setting up the tension and the despair that the 2 characters are going to experience throughout. I know, like many of you watching this, that you would stay up for hours and hours playing this game, trying to go through every nook and cranny, trying to discover all the secrets, and not becoming lunch for the zombies. The first time I ever got to experience this game was when my buddy of mine actually had the original Resident Evil Director's Cut that was released on a 2-disc set. Of course, the first disc was the Director's Cut of Resident Evil, while the second disc was a demo of Resident Evil 2. The demo was basically the finished product. giving us a glimpse of what's to come before its release. The graphics have also improved since the original Resident Evil, with sharper detail, having more characters on screen, and let's not forget those wonderful, glorious headshots. I still get a kick out of pulling off these headshots. Even though it's easy now, they're still great to do. It even helps save on ammo. I want to talk for a minute about the early stages of Resident Evil 2, which were vastly different than the finished product. Instead of choosing between Leon and Claire, you choose between rookie cop Leon Kennedy and college student Elsa Walker. Leon basically went unchanged, but Elsa is a different story. Neither character had any connection to the original game. So it was decided late in development that Elsa be changed to Claire Redfield, the sister of STARS member Chris Redfield from the first game. I first read about this now unfinished version in an issue of GamePro back in February 1997, which had an interview with producer of Resident Evil 2, Shinji Mikami. He just talks about the difference between Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 1, how this is a bigger scope, more enemies, gruesome kills, more gore. I also found another issue of GamePro back in December of 96 that had a preview of Resident Evil very early in its development. It's crazy to see all the changes that were made. I read the reasons why a lot of the changes were made. It was because the game was a little too boring, too plain, too much like the original game, and they wanted to change it up. This unfinished version is now known to us Resident Evil fans as Resident Evil 1.5. I can't believe all the hard work put in, that it was 60% complete and was all just scrapped. I myself have never got to personally experience the 1.5 version. What gameplay footage I have seen looks really interesting. I've always wondered how things would have been different if this game was released with all original concepts intact. Would they have gotten the same voice actors? Could Alison Court be doing the voice of Elsa Walker instead of Claire Redfield? Would this version of Resident Evil 2 be so highly regarded as one of the best sequels ever made? I find the what-if scenario very fascinating. I'm hoping that maybe one day Capcom will actually release Resident Evil 1.5 as it was originally intended back in '97. It would actually be awesome to relive Resident Evil 2 again in like an alternate timeline. Maybe one day Capcom will actually do it. Maybe one day. Never say never, but knowing our luck, probably never. I see why Capcom made some changes to the game. Even though this police station represents a more realistic look, it's very bland and cold. Don't get me wrong, this sets up the perfect atmosphere of dread and hopelessness. But it lacks that certain character that the locations have in the official release of Resident Evil 2. I will say I'm very thankful of the version we did end up getting, because there's a chance we wouldn't get this excellent cutscene. The first introduction of the liquor scared the crap out of me. Not knowing what this enemy can do, just look gross as can be, with its brains on the outside. It may not have been as impactful as the dogs jumping through the window in Resident Evil, but it's up there. I've beaten this game numerous times. I can't get enough of it. I play it over and over again. The game is like a fine wine. It gets better with age. When this cutscene first started, I was thinking, what the heck's going on here? Why does this helicopter have these big tubes? This is when we're introduced to the infamous Mr. X, sent by Umbrella to kill you. Man, when he came out, I was like, no way. This is crazy. This scared the crap out of me, yet again. Then I was thinking, great, it's bad enough I got zombies, lickers, and other monsters to deal with. Now I got this guy who stalks me throughout the game. And man, he comes from nowhere. You'll be doing a simple puzzle, cutscene, you think, great, grab my item, I'll go on to the next thing, and all of a sudden, BAM! He comes from nowhere. And you're like, oh, now I gotta defend myself. And the thing that sucks is he's hard to take down. You might as well just run off. But if you are able to take him down, the cool thing is, he does drop items for your hard work, which is nice, but sometimes it's not worth it. Oh, almost forgot. Then at one point you fight a big freaking alligator. You're standing there while Ada shoots and all of a sudden it pops out at you, almost biting you in half. Then I was thinking, great, how am I going to take this guy out? And I will admit, the first few times I played it, I didn't fare so well. I ended up getting killed. But it wasn't until after a few tries that I realized that there's a tank you have to release, so when the alligator picks it up, you take one shot, then the top half of his head is blown to smithereens. That was so satisfying. There's also side missions with secondary characters. In Claire's scenario, it's Sherry Birkin, the daughter of William and Annette Birkin. William Birkin was the creator of the G-Virus. While in Leon's scenario, you take control of Ada Wong, a mysterious character whose only agenda is to retrieve the G-Virus and sell to the highest bidder. These side characters help you get to items that Leon and Claire couldn't retrieve themselves. The first time I played as Ada Wong or Sherry Birkin, I didn't like it at first. I thought it broke up the pacing of the game. But looking at it now and playing it multiple times, I'm glad they're included because it really got you to care about those two characters. And of course, they both became fan favorites.
Ada, did you find anything?
Think fast. Here's one more.
Now we're heading into the main course of this delicious meal. Then suddenly that lingering threat, Mr. X comes out of molten metal to finally finish you off. Man, this dude was tough in my initial playthrough. He takes a crap ton of damage. I died so many times I was getting frustrated. I would finally calm down, take some breath, and actually watch his patterns and try to survive this fight. And get help from a mystery woman.
Here. Use this!
Who are you?
When I ran up to the dropped item, I was like, oh yes, a rocket launcher. This will do the job. Then I forgot. I was like, oh crap, I gotta equip it. I finally equip it to deliver the fatal blow.
You lose, big guy.
Woohoo! Yeah, I finally did it. Go Giggle. Go Giggle. Woohoo! Now let's start this train up, make like a leaf, and get out of here. Now I can sit back, relax, watch this cutscene, and gloat how I beat this game again. Yeah, I'm the man. I'm the man!
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
It's over.
No. I have to find my brother.
You're right. This is just the beginning.
My God has protected you. It will always be with you. Claire.
Sherry.
I was wrong. I thought I killed everything. Who else could it be? Aw, man, it's that dang William Birkin. I thought I killed him already. Can you die already? He must really like bullets, because he sure takes a lot of them. And of course, like many other bosses in this game, it took me multiple tries to take him down. Stupid William Birkin and his various transformations. Oh, finally, maybe this time it's dead. And of course, it isn't, as we later find out. So we finally stopped the out-of-control train. Everything's looking good. We got Leon. Let's finally get out of here. And of course, like I said, it's not dead. But thankfully, there's a self-destruct sequence that was activated. Of course there was. They always have on these games. But thankfully there was this time. I love the shot of the eye right when the timer goes to 0. As if the creature was saying, oh crap. Sayonara, William Birkin.
We've got to move out.
Now what's the problem? Is something following us?
Hey, we still have a job to do. Let's go.
Go? Oh, you can't mean.
Chris, I have to find you.
That was a good ending, but I always felt that Leon's was a little bit more satisfying.
Come on, time to leave.
Now? What's wrong? Is something following us?
We have to go. We don't have any time to waste.
Go? Where?
Hey, it's up to us to take out Umbrella.
Ah, this got me hyped for a sequel. I couldn't wait. And once you beat the game, you unlock extra modes. Right here, what you're seeing now is actually called the Fourth Survivor, where you take control of Hunk, who's a Umbrella operative. His objective was to get out alive with the G-Virus by any means necessary. I will admit that I used a Game Shark to unlock this mode and the other mode called Tofu Survivor. Yes, exactly what it sounds like. You play as a piece of tofu. But I always found it hilarious because you're a piece of tofu. And it was also funny that he changes color when he takes his damage and he cusses in Japanese. And that was weirdly entertaining. These additions are fun. I really liked them. Resident Evil 2 has tons of replay value. And the game's music is magnifico. This conveys the perfect sense of dread and hopelessness. I feel like I've said this before, but it's true. Music was composed by these fine people. They did a fine job. Fantastic work. This is another soundtrack I could just pop on and listen to for hours. Suddenly, on a warm summer day, in 2018, it happened. Then it was finally announced at E3 2018 that we'll be getting a remake of Resident Evil 2. When they first showed the video, I freaked out because I was like, is this Resident Evil 2? And then when Leon took that headshot to the zombie, I was like, yes, finally, Resident Evil 2! Which then led to my favorite line in the announcement trailer.
Don't make my mistake. If you see one of those things, uniform or not, you do not hesitate.
Oh, that's so good. This gives me chills. My anticipation for this game is through the roof. I cannot express the feelings I have for this announcement. I just hope it is as good as the remake of the original Resident Evil, which came out in 2002. And fans have been wanting a remake of this game since that release of the original remake of Resident Evil back in 2002. And then finally in 2015, Capcom announced that, hey, we're going to do a remake of Resident Evil 2. You guys wanted it, we're going to do it. But for almost 3 years, nothing was said of it. And of course, that all changed in 2018 when finally they announced and showed the trailer for it. Man, this game looks incredible. I can't wait for the release of this game, January 25th, 2019. It can't get here fast enough. And then seeing some of our old favorites and even new additions to the game just look fantastic. The RE2 remake will be using the RE engine that was first implemented into Resident Evil 7, which makes everything look more realistic and detailed. I'm a little disappointed that Alison Court didn't come back as the voice of Claire, But that being said, I think the actress they got for the role, that actually sounds pretty good. She does sound like a teenager because, of course, Claire's 19 in this game. I love the overall look of the game. It looks modern, but yet familiar. I like the game to be going down the route of the original remake of Resident Evil, where there's still familiarity. You can kind of get around like you did with the old games, but there's going to be new things thrown at you. So even though you're like, oh, I know what to do here, nah, it's going to be totally different. The zombies look tougher, almost bullet sponges in a way, because some of the footage I've seen, man, they take a lot of shots to take down, even a couple headshots, which is not normal for a zombie. So far in gameplay footage that I've seen, it looks like the game's going to maintain its eerie and creepy atmosphere as the original. I still can't get over the graphics. Like this scene here, the guy basically getting torn apart by the zombies as Leon's trying to help him, and just check it out. Oh, as he pulls him, you can see all his guts and everything, just in the blood smear all over the floor. It is gross and horrific, and actually looks really cool. Especially there with all the intestines and stuff. Ugh, bleh. It's awesomely gross. You can tell the love and care that was given to this game. Like the game developers were passionate once again to deliver a fantastic game that is Resident Evil 2. January 25th, 2019. Can't wait. Oh, hey. Playing a little Resident Evil 2. Thanks for watching. Thanks for reminiscing. Hope you liked the video, and more videos come soon. And for any reason you haven't played Resident Evil 2, what are you doing with your life? Get on it, dude. It's great. It's excellent. One of the best games I've ever played. My favorite Resident Evil game of all time. Maybe one day I'll do a top 10. But until then...
Unpleasant dreams.
That was weird. Anyways, see ya.